Hello everyone, welcome to General Science class. Today we are going to start chapter 4, that is pollination. In this chapter we will discuss about parts of flowers, types of flowers, pollination and its process, agents of pollination. As we know, flower is the most attractive part of the plant and it is the reproductive part of the plant. They produce seeds through which new plant grows. A flower has many parts such as pedicel, receptacle, sepals, petals, stamens and carpels. Sepals, petals, stamens and carpels are the parts arranged in 4 holes. Now let us know more about these parts in detail. Pedicel. The stalk of flower which attached to the plant is called pedicel. The upper part of the pedicel is attached to the receptacle which support all the floral part of plants. Now sepals. The hard green leaf-like structure near the base of flower are called sepals. The function of sepal is to protect the flower in the bud stage. The sepals are collectively called as calyx. Now next, petals. Petals are brightly parts of a flower. The function of petals is to attract insects and birds for pollination. The petals are collectively called as corolla. Stamens are the male reproductive parts of a flower and are collectively called androecium. Stamen is made up of filament and anther. Anther is at the top of the filament. It contains male reproductive cells, the pollen grains. Pollen grains are the male reproductive cells which are very light so that they can carry it away by wind. Now next, carpels. Carpels are the female reproductive part of flower and are collectively called gynoecium. It is made up of 3 parts: stigma, style and the ovary. Now stigma. Stigma is a sticky structure at the top of the carpel. When the pollen grains fall on it, they stick to it. Now style. Style is long tube-like structure which allows pollen grains to travel from stigma to ovule. Ovary is large lobed structure at the base of the carpel. It contains the female reproductive cells, the ovules. After fertilization, the ovary forms the fruit while the ovules turn into seeds. Now next topic is types of flowers. A flower can be complete or incomplete based on the numbers of holes present on it. Complete flower. Complete flower are the flowers which possesses all the 4 holes. That means calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Such type of flower are called complete flower. In complete flower, all the 4 holes present. China rose is the example of complete flower. Now next, incomplete flower. If a flower has one or more holes absent, it is called an incomplete flower. As for example, sweet corn and squash plant, these are example of incomplete flowers. Based on the presence or absence of some of the reproductive parts in them, flowers can be classified as monosexual or unisexual and bisexual flowers. Monosexual is also called unisexual. Monosexual flowers are the flowers which have either one of the reproductive structure, means either the stamen, male reproductive structure, or carpel, female reproductive structure. Flower is termed to be a male flower if it has only stamen. It is termed to be female flower if it has only carpel. Now examples of monosexual flowers like papaya, watermelon, cucumber, maize, muskmelon. These are example of monosexual flowers. Now next, bisexual flowers. Bisexual flowers are the flowers which have both male and female reproductive structure, stamens and carpels both present in them. Now example of bisexual flowers are lily, rose, sunflower, tulip, daffodil, mustard, these hibiscus. These are example of bisexual flowers. Now next topic is pollination and its process. What is pollination? Pollination is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. It is the first step in the formation of seed. Now the question arises, how these pollen grains are transferred to the stigma. You must have seen some insects like butterflies, bees, and even some tiny birds like hummingbirds wandering on the flowers in the garden. Do you know why these insects come to the flower? First thing, bright color and sweet smell of the flower attract these birds and insects. And second thing, they come to suck liquid called nectar as their food. So nectar is sweet liquid produced at the base of pistil. So these insects come to the flower to suck the nectar, and in this way insects also help in pollination. Pollination by insects. When an insect like bees visit a flower, the pollen grains get stuck to the body of the insect. When this insect visit another flower, the pollen grains get transferred to stigma of this flower. This is how the process of pollination takes place. Besides these insects, pollination also takes place with the help of wind and water. Pollination by wind. Wind pollinated flowers have following features. Pollen grains are light and dry and are produced in large numbers. Stigma is large and feathery to catch the wind carried pollen grains. Flowers do not produce nectar. Flowers are small and inconspicuous. Now pollination by water. This takes place in water plants like hydrilla and Vallisneria. Now types of pollination. Pollination is of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. What is self-pollination? When pollen grains are moved from anther of flower to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant is called self-pollination. Self-pollination means the pollen grains transfer from male part to the female part of the same flower or another flower but on the same plant is called self-pollination. This type of process takes place in peanuts, orchid and peas. Then we come to the cross-pollination. When pollen grains are moved from anther of flower to stigma of flower on another plant of the same kind is called cross-pollination. Means in this process the pollen grains will be transferred from one plant to the another plant of same kind, means flower of one plant to the flower of another plant of the same kind. Now let's revise the chapter. Calyx, corolla, androecium and ganoecium are four holes of a flower. Stamen is the male and carpel is the female reproductive part of a flower. On the basis of presence of reproductive part, flowers are unisexual and bisexual. The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma is called pollination. Self-pollination and cross-pollination are two types of pollination seen in flowers. Insects, wind and water are some agents of cross-pollination. Now, collective term for sepals is known as calyx. Collective term for petals is known as corolla. Collective term for stamens is androecium. And collective term for carpels is ganoecium. Now, knob-like top portion of the carpel is stigma. Part of stamen that contains pollen grains is known as anther. So learn all these carefully so that you can easily attempt exercise questions. Thank you.